All right, Bobby, you're our intro guy.
Today is a special day. And today is a podcast where we talk about that special day. I'm Bobby Parker.
And I'm Joey Nickel.
Welcome.
Well, welcome to Today Is. All right. I think that's how you're supposed to end it.
Okay.
Welcome to Today Is.
Welcome to Today.
I don't know. We never really figured out the intro.
Right. But it was
great.
shorter and pretty good that time.
That was pretty good. That was pretty succinct.
Yeah.
That was pretty succinct. At some point, the intro music comes in, and then we have the title card, which Bobby recently you updated our graphic for Today Is.
Yes. Yeah.
Our font for Today Is, and it looks good. I like it, and so I think I'm going to update our title card and our image for the podcast. All right, we are here in Bobby's backyard.
Yes.
This is a new location.
It's very scenic.
Yes. This is the addition to the Bobcast studio.
Yeah, this is the.
I'm going to mistakenly call that Bobcat so many times.
Yeah,
That's fine.
Yeah.
This is the Bobcast annex room. I don't know. I can't.
So you bring that up, like the name Bob, like my name is Bobby, but everything in my family they try to rename Bob. Like we had a cat that they named Bob on purpose, trying to replace me.
Aw.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's.
I appreciate the sympathy.
I'm sorry.
Bobby
it cute?
Bobby is a terrible person. And we've been trying to replace him with a cat on the podcast for the last 10 years.
I mean, unfortunately, you know how cats are, though. I mean,
They're too temperamental.
Yeah.
We can't get him, and I can't get him to learn words. So he just sits there and meows the entire time, and it's a really boring podcast. So we are here with Joan Elizabeth. She is a comic in the Ocala area.
correct.
And today is International Women's Day. And because we don't know any women, we decided to invite one off the street to come in. No, that sounded bad. You're not a street woman.
No,
Not yet.
This economy.
Yeah.
We decided to have, we wanted to have a female perspective on the show because we're both dudes that are, now to be fair, we're very feminine dudes.
Yes, we're not the manliest,
not the manliest
of
men.
We're men, but we're not the purely defined as like.
We're technically men.
Yeah.
Well, I feel safe then.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a safe space then, if that's the case.
Anybody should feel safe around us at any time because we can't do anything.
Yeah, I'm built to take a beating, so yes, that's, like I'm well padded.
We put some padding in. We put some insulation in. So I wanted to start off by talking about like how long have you been doing stand up? Like what's your story with stand up? Why did you start? You're also an artist,
I am.
by the way, which I'm a big fan of your artwork.
Oh, thank you.
I've seen what you posted on social media. I haven't
my
seen
gosh.
any of it live. I haven't seen any of the artwork in person, but I'm a big fan of what you put on social
thank you.
media and Instagram.
Thank you. Yeah, and to go way back, and thank you very much for saying that. I appreciate that. So I've been an artist since before I could talk. That's my first passion, my first love, because I was a very shy kid, and I would perform for my family, but around other kids, I was really shy. But I always kind of had that drive in me. I always kind of had that spark in me to get on stage and get in front of people. I never really explored that though, or entertained it until high school when I did a one-act play to get over my stage fright. And then
I've to get over your stage fright, you did a one-act play.
Yeah, I joined advanced drama class. I can't do things half-hearted. I have to go all in.
Okay, I'm sorry. So I think I got confused. It wasn't a one-person play; it was a one-act. So
Yeah.
there were other people on the stage.
There
with
was
you.
one other person on the stage with me.
That's still incredible.
Well, thank you.
Hey, I'm scared of being on stage, so let me like do the most the scariest thing, go on stage with one other person.
Yeah, no baby steps.
How old were
no
you
crawling.
when you did that? When was that?
I was about 17 years old.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So like high school.
High school.
Yeah.
But I always had a love of stand-up comedy and sketch comedy, which we were just talking about. But I was obsessed with stand-up comics, and I always wanted to try it. It was one of those pipe dreams when I was a kid. I was like, man, I'd love to just do that and be good at it.
That's how it was for me too.
Yeah.
Exactly. I always I told my mom I was going to be a stand-up comic.
Oh yeah.
And she said, you don't want to do that. And I was like, why not? And she's like, well, you'll end up divorced or depressed. And I was like, okay. And then and I loved Robin Williams.
Small price to pay.
Yeah, I know. I loved Robin Williams, and she was always like, yeah, but he can't keep a woman. Like that's what she would say. Like, nah, he's been divorced like 3 times. You don't want to be like Robin Williams. I was like, all right, whatever, Mom. And I did an act at my 8th grade talent show. Like I did people called it stand-up. I remember the staff being the teachers being like, you're told to my dad, your son's going to be a stand-up comic when he grows up. But it wasn't like I wasn't telling jokes. I did like a skit kind of thing, but it was just me up there. But I was just saying, I guess it was jokes, but I was doing a character, a weird character.
Yeah,
it counts.
Absolutely.
But that was I count that as my first time ever doing stand-up comedy was in 8th grade. And then whatever. The next time I did stand-up comedy was at the Comedy Zone at the workshop.
Oh, okay. So small break.
Is that in Jacksonville?
Yeah, that's in Jackson. That's
Okay.
our club here, is the Comedy Zone.
Okay.
And that was the next time I did stand-up comedy was 17 years later at the workshop when I was trying to become a stand-up comic. But that's always something. I was always a fan of stand-up comedy. I always had huge influences, and I would always repeat the jokes at school, that kind of stuff for my friends. I was trying to act like a stand-up with my friends.
Oh yeah, my a good friend of mine and I in middle school would just quote stand-up comics that we had seen on HBO or Comedy Central Presents, that kind of thing. We would just quote them back and forth at each other. I'm sure terribly, but it was a lot of fun for us.
And I don't know
annoying for the kids around us.
I don't know how old you are, but I remember when Comedy Central became a thing.
Me too. I'm 39.
Okay, so we're around the same age.
Yeah.
I remember when it became a thing, and I remember it was something else. It was like it was another channel. They had another name for it, and it didn't have as much stand-up and stuff.
I feel like it was just called the Comedy Channel.
It might have been, like the
that.
Comedy Channel or something. And the first time we got it at my house, it shared a channel with VH1. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah, it was like our cable provider did not want to waste 2 channels on VH1 and
It must have been disappointing when it switched over to VH1 and it was like, and now.
Well, it was the other way around. During the day, it was VH1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I remember it would switch over during RuPaul had a talk show on VH1.
Really?
And it would switch over in the middle of RuPaul's talk show for some reason.
Oh, that's terrible.
So I would always watch like the first half of RuPaul's talk show, knowing it was about to switch over. Like, oh, the Comedy Channel's going to switch over, and I was a fan of RuPaul when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Just the first half of the show, though.
Yeah.
And then eventually, I actually became a fan of RuPaul's Drag Race. I don't know if you watched that, but it's
I
a
never
fun
really
show.
got into it. I don't really watch
It's ridiculous.
I don't watch a lot of reality shows.
It's
competition shows like that.
I don't
they make
mind.
Me anxious.
I hate reality shows, but I don't mind competition shows. Like
for some reason, they just they make me anxious.
oh yeah, there's definitely a lot of awkward and anxious stuff in those.
There's
yeah,
a lot of fighting and
oh
stuff.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But RuPaul's Drag Race, the reason why I like it as opposed to other reality shows is because it's ridiculous. Like it's supposed to be dumb. Like
Right.
it's supposed to be over the top and like absolutely like they play up everything and it's obvious they're playing it up.
Of course, they're
you
drag
know?
queens. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, like you can't. So that's why I like it. It knows what it is.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's fun. And the only other reality show I watch is Traitors, which is more of a game show than it is a reality show. It's,
What is that?
I've never heard of Traitors.
Oh my god, I can't believe I haven't talked
Is
about
it like
yet.
traitors?
Traders, like you
Traders.
You're a trader. Like you're you
like
turn
commerce.
on somebody. No,
like
with a T.
Like
traitor.
like Benedict Arnold.
Yes, like Benedict.
Benedict Arnold trading.
So I have watched. I think every.
Works.
I think I have watched every episode that's in English of that show. There's like 6 different versions. There's the American version, there's the UK version, there's the New Zealand version, there's the Australian version, and it started in like the Netherlands or something like that. Like I haven't watched any of the ones not in English, but it's 20 people. They put them in this mansion or this castle, and then they pick usually 3 or 4 of them to be traitors, and then the rest of them are faithfuls. If you played the game, it's like that old, like murder or
that
whatever.
Murder game. Yeah, that you play at parties.
It's Mafia that you play at parties, or murder or serial killer.
Secret Hitler.
Secret Hitler, which I don't think we can do that anymore. That's nobody should be playing Secret Hitler anymore.
There should be no Secret Hitlers.
Except for the ones running our country. Or
Brazil.
It's such like the concept is so base like that, but it adds up to a ton of like edge of your seat drama and stuff. And by the way, so there's money involved. So they start off with $0, and then every day they do a task. It's just something like they have to build they have to build a house or something, just something, just some task, and then if they complete the task, and they have to work together, even if you're a traitor, if you're a faithful, you don't know who's who, but you have to work together, and they're all trying to earn the money. So you work together. If you complete the task, you add to your pot. And then the maximum pot is usually around like $200,000 or something like that.
Okay.
And then when it comes down to it, every night they have to vote somebody off that they think is a traitor. And at the end, they all get together. Whoever's left, if they all think they're faithfuls, they can say, "We think we're all faithfuls." We end the game, and then the host reveals if there are any traitors left. And if there are any traitors left, the traitors win. But if it's only faithfuls left, the faithfuls win. So if they successfully get out all of the traitors, then the faithfuls win.
All right.
Wow.
And it's pretty like you don't even know these people going into the show, and like you get to like I don't know. I would recommend it to anybody. It's an awesome show. It's more like a game show than it is a reality show. It's kind of a reality show, I guess, but.
It sounds fun.
It is. It's fun. I don't know why we started. I don't know why I got into that.
That's okay.
Actually, this is a good transition point. We didn't do our opening like the shows we've done recently.
Oh,
we usually start the show by saying like what shows you messed us up.
Yeah,
having a guest on completely ruined our show.
Women.
Exactly, women.
Let's go backwards a little bit. Bobby and I just did a show last night.
We did a really fun show, neighborhood show
at the Bartram Springs Clubhouse HOA. That was a fun show. I found out Monday I was going to be on the show.
Yes,
and because I was filling in for somebody who dropped out, and then I found out Thursday, the day before the show, that it was in my parents' neighborhood. So I didn't know. And so I texted them. I was like, hey, I'm going to do a show down the street if you want to come. So my dad and my sister came. And then I found out the day of the show that you were on the show.
Yes. I found out 10 minutes before the show that you were on the show.
Yeah.
So
it was all right.
Hey, okay, this is fun.
And it was at an HOA.
Yeah. It was pretty. It was pretty awesome. It was a big crowd. There was probably like 50 people there.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So it was not a big room. It was probably about maybe the size of this patio. Like it wasn't a big room.
Right. And they loved being there. Like they came to watch the show.
Yeah, they bought tickets.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Some of them brought drinks, and they were having a great time.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It was Food Truck Friday outside.
Yes, yeah. It was. I pulled up, and I'm like, man, this place has got everything. Like kids are running around. They had shoes on, so very different than most rural Florida. I just wanted to put that out there.
And then after the show, the show went great. I had a great set. I had a really good time. People tipped us. That was good. They gave us tips.
Oh, that's nice.
It's
nice when they do that.
I had like 2 or 3 different people do the handshake and the money thing, which doesn't happen a lot, which is funny. It happened 3 times last night.
Nice.
So it turned out pretty good. Then I went to the Comedy Zone to watch Adam Ferrara do the Late Show, and it was a Friday late show.
Oh.
And that was, I don't know if I have to say more than it was a typical. It was the classic Friday late show. Like, I felt really bad. I talked to him, and I was talking to him after. I was like, "Hey, that was rough." Like, like not him. Like, I was like, "I'm sorry for that crowd." Like, that was Jacksonville's usually. He's never been to Jacksonville before. I was like, "Jacksonville's usually a fun room." And he's like, "Yeah, the other shows were good." And he's like, "Yeah, that's just Friday late show." Like, he knows the deal.
Yeah. For the people that don't know, that are listening, that aren't comics. Basically, Friday early show is usually a great show.
Usually one of the best is Friday early.
Okay.
People are getting off work and they're like, "Hey, let's go out," but they haven't had a chance to get to drink too much.
They're not too tired yet.
And early would be considered like what time?
Usually 7:30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe 8.
Maybe
depending
8 at the latest
on the club. But then there usually multiple shows. So there's like a 10 o'clock show, 11 o'clock show. Those shows, people are tired.
Just the Friday one, though. The Saturday one's usually good.
Saturdays, yeah, great.
The Saturday one's good.
Friday,
Well,
it's
people
just,
have had a chance to rest up on Saturday, and
Well, it's so most comedy clubs, the bigger comedy clubs, do 5 shows in a weekend. They'll do 1 show Thursday, 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday. And just now, I thought we had gotten over the Friday late show recently, because the Friday late shows have been good on the shows that I've been on. And I think the difference is like, it depends on if that person's fans are there. So like Friday late show, for people who have a fan base, that's when the fans come, the Friday late show, or they come for the whole thing, but that's only fans sometimes is the Friday late show. It's only the person's fans. So that's usually a good show now. But when it's not their fans, when it's just the riffraff of Friday late show, when it's people who have been already went somewhere else to have dinner and drink,
right,
and then they come here after a full day of work, they come to the Comedy Zone, those are the rough ones.
they're just kind of like, "Oh, let's go see a comedy."
Yeah, and there's either one of two things happens in those situations: is either they're silent, they just aren't good laughers, or they're too rowdy, or they just want to talk to the comic, or they just don't have good comedy club etiquette. Yeah. But it was so. But he did the best he could. He did a lot of crowd work to try to get the crowd going. He did better than Leroy did.
Okay.
Leroy didn't. I take that back. Leroy did a good job.
Right.
Leroy did a good job. But Leroy's usually a killer.
Yeah, he dominates.
He usually dominates crowds, and he's usually even if he tries crowd work, he's usually pretty good at that. But he had a rough time. I could tell he was having a rough time. Yeah. But apparently the other shows were good, and I imagine the shows tonight will be good shows.
Yeah, and two things. One, I doubt people in the crowd would have noticed, like, "Oh, hey, this is..."
Yes, the crowd didn't know it was a bad show. Like, the crowd was fine. Like, when they come out and when they were saying goodbye and everything, they're like, "Oh, that was a great show." They don't know any different. But.
Yeah, this is very inside.
Yeah, this is very much to the eye of the comic.
And two, I would like to point out that on International Women's Day, we spent about 5 minutes mansplaining Friday second shows. So thank you for putting up with us.
Sure, yeah, it's good to know for future reference.
How long have you been a woman? Is that something you always wanted to be?
I guess legally since I turned 18.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
good.
According to the law,
that's longer than us.
Yeah.
Now are you married or any relationship or anything like that?
Not married, no kids.
No kids or anything like that.
Not tethered to anything or anyone.
We're both married to women.
Yes.
And that's the extent of our knowledge.
Yeah. And what have you learned?
Not much.
Okay.
I've learned to listen more. Because she is usually right, even when I am not willing to admit it.
I hear that a lot.
Yeah.
I hear that a lot from my married friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bobby and I, how long have you been married?
I have, this is 2025 for 14 and a half years.
14 and a half. I've been married for 17 years.
Wow.
And I will say, so I have 4 sisters.
Okay.
So I have experience living with women and growing up with women. I was raised by a lot of women.
You learned how to navigate that insanity.
I learned how to navigate I learned how to navigate to hopefully not be as in a lot of trouble. I will say that living with a woman in the same room and as a partner and a roommate I like it better than living with a man. I will say that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We tend to be cleaner, I think, maybe.
That and that is probably true for most of my male roommates
Generally,
that I had beforehand.
I think part of my
Typically smells better.
Yeah. Less weird smells.
Yeah.
I think part of it is, though, the only real female roommate I've had is my wife, who I love, which I think would make it easier than if it was just a typical roommate situation where it was like, hey, I think I would butt heads a little bit more that
if it
way.
were just some random female.
Yeah, just some random female.
Yeah.
Or just like some random person, like a friend, but now I'm living with him. I would probably suffer that.
Well, also, like, at some point you stop sharing a room with another person as an adult until you get married.
Yes.
Too. So like I do feel like when I was in the dorms, I shared a room with another man, which is looking back now, because I always had I had a brother too. I had one brother and 4 sisters, and we shared a room.
Right.
And so like I always had like a male person in the room with me until I moved out of the dorms in college, until I found an apartment where I got my own room. And I remember getting my own room and being like, "Oh, this is much better. Like I can just be in here, and I don't have to deal with anybody." And then
having roommates, like literal roommates, is so normal for so long.
I know. And then you get the freedom of having your own room. And then as you get older, but then you get married, and then it's like, oh, well, this is all gone. I will never have my own room. Then you have kids, and then you're like, I don't have my own space ever.
You don't have like a man cave or anything?
Well, I do, but I share it with my wife.
Oh, okay.
we have an office that we both share.
It's no longer a man cave; it's an office.
Yeah, it's a non-gender specific cave.
See, I'm the exact opposite. I grew up as an only child. I was always used to having my own room.
That's true.
I went to college, had a roommate for a couple years, but then I think by my 3rd year in college, I was living in a single. It was probably my 2nd or 3rd year when probably about 3rd year I started living in a single. But I roommates no bueno for me. I need my space, and my wife's the only person who I'm okay with really being around all the time. Even the kids, I'm like, yeah, you got to get away from me for a bit.
Yeah.
Now, did you have small kids altogether? Like they weren't like, because my kids were all small together. They have 3 kids, and they're all
no. So the 2 oldest, the step kids, they were together. So like 24 and 23. So they
were together. But
yeah,
they were teenagers.
When
you got married,
they were almost teenagers. They were like 9 and 10.
Oh, 9 and 10. Okay.
Yeah. And then,
so you did have little kids that were close in age.
Yeah,
together.
And so
Okay.
and then I was part of
the whole thing.
Their lives, for a long time before that. And then we've got an 11-year-old now. So he's closer personality-wise, just because it's a little bit more like being an only child with that much of an age gap.
Right.
I'll say, so like when we had one kid, it was I feel like I had more of my own space when I had one kid. He stuck to it. He was able to occupy himself. Yeah. But when you start having multiple kids, they're all young kids, you get less and less space because they're trying to get away from the other kid. And so they want to hang out with you and get away from the brother. And then, so it's like you never get peace. Like I never get peace.
But I think that is a good transition back to escapism. I think that like part of what the art is is escape. Finding what resonates. Helps. So let's talk about your art more.
Sure.
What's your medium? What's your favorite medium?
My medium right now for the last several years is markers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So transitioning from talking about little kids, I never really fully grew up, but now I started working with markers as an adult. I don't know, several years ago. I really started to explore it during the pandemic because I didn't really have a space to paint. But I had a drawing pad and some markers, and I just started playing and just really experimenting, and it's just grown from there. And I've done 4 large-scale marker pieces. I've done 4 36-inch by 36-inch marker drawings.
I never thought about markers.
I you can get like artist markers now.
Right.
I don't do like Crayolas.
I had artist markers when I was younger, but I never used them. I never got into them. I was really into watercolor.
Yeah.
And I was really into art. I was really into making art when I was in high school.
Oh, cool.
I took AP art.
I did too.
Which I didn't. It was the only AP class I ever took was AP art.
I took AP art and AP Lit. So.
I didn't take. I was not smart enough to take AP Lit.
We did not have AP art.
AP art, the only thing different between regular art, for us at least, was you made a portfolio.
Exactly.
That was basically
that was our
more professional
That
things.
was the equivalent of our exam that we had to take.
Yeah, ours too. The AP exam was the portfolio.
Yeah.
Which I got college credit for it.
Yeah, same.
Which I didn't need because I was going to do art in college anyway. It's like I was going to do an arts program in college anyway. So it was like I didn't need the extra, nothing elective.
Yeah,
I
I wasn't going to be an art major in college, but I didn't really know what else to do. So I ended up majoring in art.
Yeah, ended up doing it anyway.
Which I thought was useless for the longest time.
Oh, it is until you figure things out.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't get a visual arts degree. I got a film degree. I went to film school.
Oh, cool.
And which is useless when you move to Florida.
Where did you move from?
I went to school in Utah at Brigham Young University.
Okay.
And they actually have a really great film program, which is centered around independent film because of Sundance. So they work really, really closely with Sundance. I would always volunteer at the Sundance Festival, and I have friends who got into the Sundance Festival after college.
Nice.
And they've stayed there in Utah because there's actually a really big independent film community there in Utah, and they people love filming there. They go to the state parks and film stuff there all the time. A lot of westerns.
I've driven through Utah. It's gorgeous. Out there.
A lot. I mean, the Arches Park there. That's the classic. The archway stones. I don't
Zion out there.
Yeah, Zion's out there. That's So they a lot of westerns have been filmed out there. A lot of stuff like that. So there's a big independent film community there, and so I should, if I would have stayed there, I probably could have done more work in the film industry or in the media industry. But then I moved to Florida, and the only media job I had was as a media specialist for a promotional products company. And I did that for like a year, and that was it. That's the only job I've had in media since college.
Okay.
So you're probably using your degree more than I'm using my degree.
Well, I didn't use it much for years. I went to work for a local promotional products company.
But at least that actually makes more sense, at least, because then you can be in art, you can do art and stuff like that.
I found I really hated commercial art, though.
So it didn't work out.
Yeah, not really.
See, my brother did commercial art for a while. He's a really good artist.
Yeah.
I was a good artist and a like doing it and got as far as I could with it artist. He was a phenomenal artist, and he was graphic artist, all that. He was really good.
I'm gonna ask this. This is the equivalent of the really annoying question that stand-ups get to artists.
Draw us something right now.
I
see you have your doodles I did at work.
Yeah, but that's actually mine. I doodle.
I do too.
But it was. I know that Joey's brother drew caricatures.
That's right. He was on the show last week.
Right. And so, can you do caricatures, things like that? I mean, is that something that you've done? It's
not something I've done. I think if I practiced at it, I could probably do it.
My brother worked at an amusement park for a summer and did caricatures with airbrush. Airbrush drawings and stuff.
Yeah, that would be the one thing that people would always suggest to me, like,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
should work at Disney and do caricatures.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I was like, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I know it's annoying, but like
No, it's fine.
But it's like, yeah, it's one of those things like, oh, can you draw something on demand? Like I can doodle, I can draw, and certain times I can see things I can do, but I've never really tried to draw something on demand, and that is an exceptional talent.
I mean, on demand, do you mean from memory?
Like, hey, yeah, I need a picture of a horse. You know, if somebody said that, or you know, just I don't even know how to phrase this
No,
question.
I think I understand what you're asking. I mean, I've done commission work before, and it's a different kind of challenge, because when you're just making art for yourself, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And no one can say anything about it. And then if somebody wants to buy it, cool.
That's how I felt when I was doing online. Like when I was during the pandemic, when I would do, and I did my web series comedy show. I was like, this is for me. Like,
Yeah.
nobody's watching this.
Yeah.
Like, I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, exactly.
And nobody wanted to buy it, so
Oh,
I got. I would always put a Venmo at the end. It's like, if you want to tip the show, put a Venmo, and it was like, and we'd get, I don't know, probably the most we ever got was 1,000 viewers, because we do it. I did it when we used to be able to do, like, not Facebook Live, but they used to do a thing where it was like a watch party. That's what it was called.
right.
I used to do a watch party, and then we'd get, like, you know, anywhere from 200 to 1,000 viewers, and I always put that tip thing at the end, like the Venmo at the end. I only got tipped once, and it was my aunt, and it was $20.
Oh, what a good aunt.
That's the most money I ever got from that show. I even tried to sell merch at the end of the show. I'd have T-shirts. Nobody ever bought it. So
But you tried.
yeah. And I had
Put
six.
yourself out there. And
I had 6 seasons of a show, of 6 episodes each, 15-minute episodes. Nobody watched them. So
you said you had between 200 and 1,000 viewers.
yeah, but like
average?
that was for the watch parties, and then
okay.
and then like on YouTube they would get like 5 views. It was like nobody would ever, like they never had a life after that.
Yeah, I've never figured out how all the algorithms
me neither.
work and all
I
that
don't
kind
know.
of stuff. I haven't cracked that code.
Yeah.
I have a friend who's an artist who actually is in the same space as I am. We're resident artists at a place in Ocala.
You have a studio there?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's nice.
And she has something like 120,000 followers
Wow.
on Instagram.
Really?
Yeah.
Now you put a lot of your stuff on there.
I've started
Yeah.
to.
Is
more
that your main
recently.
spot, Instagram?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I link it to my Facebook. I don't look at Facebook.
I know. I don't really like Facebook.
I don't like that.
I
It just
post
gets,
on it for shows. Like I put my shows on there.
Yeah.
But that's about all I do on Facebook.
Yeah, I try to post on there, or post to my Instagram and link it to my Facebook account so it gets out there.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I don't.
What is
mess around
your
with
your
spaces.
Instagram?
Oh yeah. What's your Instagram handle?
Currently, it is at Very Berry Sass.
Very Berry Sass.
That's my.
So you can check out some of our artwork if you guys want to take a look at that. And I'll try to put in the episode description. I'll put all your social media in the episode
Sounds
description.
good. I don't do TikTok.
I do TikTok, and too much.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about TikTok. It is really stupid until you do it long enough. Like you have to do TikTok for like 2 years.
Stupid in the sense of.
It's just full of dumb people, and it's full of dumb people. Like when you post videos, it's going to be the dumbest people talking to you, commenting on your videos. I will say though, it is not as bad as YouTube comments. I will say
Really?
the worst comments of all social media is YouTube comments.
Okay.
Really terrible people that want to make your life bad. They're bad people.
So sad for them.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Now, I enjoy it because I engage with them, and I shouldn't, but I do it because it's hilarious when I engage with them, and I
Yeah.
just make fun of them the whole time. Because they say stupid things. They say ridiculous things to
Yeah.
try to be hurtful. And then I play into it, and I just keep... I mean, I love getting in YouTube comment fights. It's awesome. TikTok comment fights aren't as fun because they're being sincere, and they're actually stupid people.
Like
so
they really think they're giving you
yes, they
constructive
really
feedback
think yes,
and-
they really
yeah.
think they're saying something good,
Yeah.
or they think they're saying something interesting, and they're just dumb.
Aw.
So I feel bad when I go at them, because then they'll be like, "I was just trying to be helpful." I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry." I was like, then I feel bad, and then they delete their comments, and I'm like, "Oh, now I didn't. I thought you were being a jerk," and they're just being stupid. So that's the difference between TikTok and YouTube. TikTok, they're genuine when they're trying to comment. So when they do say something bad, you know that they're not doing it because they're trolls. They're doing it because they're real, genuine bad people,
Right.
I guess, on TikTok. But I do like TikTok, and I will say that a big part of my comedy, like, I actually develop jokes because of TikTok. Like, TikTok keeps me in the loop in what's going on
Yeah.
in the world
Yeah, I
more
can
than
see
other
that.
apps.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm directly communicating with creators and people. Now you got to go. It took a good 2 years to get my algorithm right, so that I'm not seeing, dancing girls, or just like, like it took a good 2 years for the algorithm to show me what I wanted to see,
Yeah.
Which is not dancing girls.
which is not dancing girls. Which is,
just to be clear,
apparently baby videos and stand up, and restoring retro game consoles like that.
Like, how do I get to the cats? I just want to see the cats.
So it took a good 2 years to get what I wanted, and then but beyond that, I also follow a lot of just people that are smart. Like, I follow a lot of smart people on there, or people that are trying to communicate, or trying to talk about not necessarily politics, but like just what's going on. I follow a couple people that are trying to be kind of TikTok news people, and I follow various genres of news people. Like I follow a person that's like, okay, this person is going to talk about things that are silly. This is news. This is good feel good news. This person is
Right.
going to talk about what's happening in the White House, or this person's going. And you just have to kind of figure it out and find out who you trust. And then honestly, that's how I interact with, and generate material. A lot of times, I generate a ton of material just from watching TikTok,
Okay.
which is
good to know.
Maybe I don't know if it's good or bad, but
I
I'm
mean-
able to generate material.
That's interesting.
So
I didn't know that.
when I'm laying in my bed, when I wake up at noon and I lie in my bed and scroll on TikTok for 3 hours, I'm like, I'm working. Like, that's
I'm
what.
doing research.
Is that
It's a
is that
write-off.
believable? Can I? Yeah. Is that believable? Can I bill hours? Can I tell my wife that's I'm working when I'm in bed for 3 hours watching TikTok?
Sure, why not?
But anyway, that's how I use TikTok. But it does take a bit to get into it. Now, I still don't have any. I still only have like 300 followers on TikTok. I still don't know how to use it as a creator. I only know how to use it as a consumer
As
at
a
this
consumer.
point. Yeah.
Okay.
what about you? What inspires you? Like comedy, art, all of these things.
Well, how do I answer that? So I'll answer the comedy question first, because I think it's simpler. For me, I'm very observational. I've always been somebody who observes people. I notice the things around me, and I think, that's funny, or that might be funny, and then I write it down if I can. If I'm in a place, usually I'm in a really inconvenient place where I notice something that I think is funny,
Absolutely.
or has the
Yeah.
the potential to be funny.
Yeah.
And I'll either if I'm driving, I'll make a note in my phone.
Yeah.
Or something
I
like
do
that. Yeah.
I
do voice
specifically-
memos all the time.
I bought a note, like Samsung Note, specifically for the pen, so that I could take comedy notes quickly.
Oh, that's
and
useful.
I have had since I got a note for the first time. I have always gotten a phone with a pen,
Yeah.
so that I can quickly take notes on my phone.
Yeah, I strictly use my phone
Yeah.
for anything comedy related,
Yeah, me too.
because my handwriting is so bad.
Oh yeah, well
Because-
mine's bad too.
yeah.
I still
my-
look at it later and I'm like, what
My
did I write
brain
there?
my brain moves faster than my hand, so I'm like, and by
Yeah.
the time I go back to it, I can't even read what I wrote. So
I only use the pen if I'm in the middle of something and I need to write one. I write one word down usually. It's usually like fart or something. It's like, and then I'm like, what did I mean by
what was
that?
it?
Yeah. And
What was that about?
And then if I'm sitting quietly or something, or if I have a minute, I'll type it. I'll type the note. But if I'm going quickly, I'll write it with the pen. And
that's cool.
So I have tons of handwritten notes saved there.
Oh, that's really cool.
Like once a month, I'll have to go through my notes and just kind of compile everything. What was I talking about there? What was I talking about there?
Yeah.
And bring it together.
I usually text myself, and
I've done that before too.
yeah.
I've texted myself.
I text myself all the time, and yeah, that's
Now
it.
Google will send you. I will say, hey Google. I don't want to say it too loud. My phone's going to do something. I will say, hey Google, and then I'll say send myself a note, and then I'll say this, and it'll email it to me.
Okay.
Oh,
So
that's
you
a good
can
idea.
verbally do it. Now I did that a couple times, but then I forget, and then it's lost in my email. So I don't. So I never see it again. So it's better if I keep it in my notes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have Google Docs on my phone, and I do that a lot too. So but yeah, just for me, it's observational things I notice around me. Just if I'm watching a show or looking at social media of some kind, just whatever I find funny or that might be funny, and I just write it down.
when did you start doing stand up?
I started doing stand up in my sort of late 20s.
Okay.
I was actually there was no scene in Ocala at all.
So you've been in Ocala for a while. How long have you? Did you
well,
grow up in Ocala?
I grew up in Ocala. Okay. I went to Gainesville. I moved to Gainesville for school. So I went to UF, and I was there for about 5 years. And then I moved back. And then at one point, I moved out to Seattle, and I came back. And then I lived in Tampa. I lived in St. Pete, and moved back to Seattle. Stayed there for about a year. Came back, and I've been in Ocala ever since.
Just couldn't stay away from Seattle.
I have friends that lived out there, and they kept inviting me, and so I had a place to stay.
The coffee was calling you back.
And
the rain.
Let me tell you, those the people out there are serious about their coffee.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Yeah, like really.
Yeah.
But
and they're wrong. Okay, they are wrong. All right, there's. I will stir that pot. Starbucks over roast. It's bitter.
Go right ahead.
Yeah.
Like they were obnoxious. I worked in a couple
coffee.
of bakeries.
Yeah.
So.
I've never had it.
You've never had it?
Yeah, I've never had it.
Okay.
I don't know what it tastes like. I know what it smells like. I actually don't mind
great.
it. It smells good.
Yeah, it's a good smell. But when it gets burnt and starts getting bitter, that's what Starbucks does. That's what it tastes like. Yeah. So. Sorry.
Yeah.
Rant done.
It's not my favorite. I'm not really a big espresso drinker anyway, so.
Yeah, I like coffee. I'm passionate.
Yeah. Well, it's good to be passionate about something.
Yes.
You might as well be passionate about caffeinated beverages.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing else.
Yeah.
So you went to Gainesville. Did you do any stand-up in college?
No.
Okay.
No,
So it was after college.
It's after college. So my kind of late 20s. I when I graduated college and I moved back here, I kind of got into theater, and a friend of mine had a small theater company. I started doing stuff there, started doing some one-act plays, and then I got into the Rocky Horror Show, the musical.
Oh, okay.
And because I always wanted to play Magenta. So it was my dream role ever since I was like 13 years old.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm a big Tim Curry fan.
Me too.
And it's Tim Curry at his finest.
Yeah.
And it's the complete. He's different than he's not like that anywhere else in the world.
No.
Like there's no other role that he's ever been to ever be like that.
Like that. Yeah.
It's the most
and
unique.
he's incredible in it.
And he's amazing.
Yeah.
He's phenomenal in it.
Yeah. So I did that, and that got me over my fear of singing in front of people. And then I went on to do some more stuff at the bigger theater in town, and just got really into acting on stage.
Somebody else likes
Someone
singing.
else has, yeah, apparently.
Somebody else got some pipes.
I
I don't know if the microphones are picking it up, but there is a dog
Yeah.
that is found a duck or something.
It's like bellowing back there.
to let you know, I'm pretty sure that is Murphy.
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 the
Well,
dog.
shout out to Murphy.
Yeah.
Hi, Murphy.
He's a big fan of the show.
Murphy is the special guest.
Yeah.
But I did So I ended up doing a lot of theater, and it really got me comfortable with being on stage.
See, I started in theater.
Okay.
Like that's how I started performing and music. So I'm a big singer. I was in choir and all-state choir and stuff like that, and I did all the musical theater in high school and in middle school and stuff like that.
Oh, nice.
My mom, big theater nerd. My mom was like into all these community productions, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of wanted to be an actor, I think. My uncle did. My uncle moved out to New York and became a Broadway actor for years and years. He's retired now,
cool.
and my mom was always kind of wanted to do that, but kind of did the mom thing, did the stay-at-home mom thing, but always was involved in community theater and formed us. We became. She had 6 kids, so we have 4 girls and 2 boys, and we were her theater troupe / family band.
Like the Von Trapp.
Oh yeah, we sang. We did
Partridge
concerts.
Family type.
We would get gigs to we'd go.
Did y'all like play instruments and stuff?
Yeah, we all played instruments.
Wow.
We all would go and do these concerts.
How is this not
concerts.
a sitcom?
I mean, I'm actually surprised I haven't talked about it on the show yet. This is the first time I brought it up.
I love this.
Churches would ask us we'd travel out, we'd drive for hours and just go do like these church shows and like do performances and stuff like that. And we'd go down to like, no matter what, we moved all over the place. We lived all different places. I was born in Ohio, but we also lived in Texas and Indiana and Iowa and Arkansas. In every state, we'd like make our name in that state and do like this like concert tour of like, whatever, like neighborhoods or churches or whatever, and just do these. Or sometimes we just do them in our backyard. For a while, we had a backyard concert every 4th of July.
A hootenanny.
Yeah, we would do a backyard concert. We lived by a lake.
jamboree.
Yeah, we lived by a lake in Arkansas, and there was fireworks over the lake every year. And so we would have our backyard concert, and then people would stay and watch the fireworks. We'd have 150 people there at our family concert every year.
So like right here, like this is where we do 4th of July now, because all of the rednecks that live that way light stuff on fire and do fireworks.
Yeah.
So we can sit out here and watch
all the
fireworks.
Watch it
rednecks.
from over here.
Yeah.
And be safe.
But now I hear we can get a family of musicians out here.
I know. We tried to do it in Florida a couple times. We did it maybe 2 or 3 times in Florida. When my parents moved here, we were all adults by then,
right?
So it was harder to get us together. But we did it. I'd say we probably did it for 3 years. When my parents first moved to Florida, we would do the family concert on 4th of July.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What kind of songs did you guys do?
All kinds of songs. Just we choose songs. We were like, we would, and it was a thing. Like at the beginning, in the fall, we'd be like, okay, what are we going to sing for the 4th of July concert this year? And we're like, okay, I think I want to sing, and we'd work on it for all year until the 4th of July concert. Awesome. And that was our regular gig. But when before we lived in Arkansas, we would travel and we'd sing religious songs or just we sang a lot of Chicago. Okay. Like if it was a church, we did all religious songs.
Sure.
But if it was like just a family concert, we'd do a lot of Chicago or
Stone Temple Pilots.
A lot of
Marilyn Manson.
A lot of Marilyn Manson.
Yeah.
A lot. We put on a lot of Kiss makeup. Actually, that'd be awesome.
Oh, little baby.
I'm doing that now. I'm making my kids being in a Kiss cover band.
Yes.
Now that'd be awesome. And then we call ourselves Kids. No, that doesn't.
And it has to be all the.
We can't call it Kiss Kids. That sounds.
Kid,
don't do
no.
that.
Kids.
This is now a very not kid. Yeah, Kids Kiss is no.
No, that's not gonna work.
That's not gonna work.
No.
Especially when we're talking about putting them in makeup.
Yeah. We put them in makeup and the band is called Kiss Kids. It's like, no, don't do that.
Everybody, come on out. Watch us kiss kids.
The band is called Don't Kiss Kids. Stay away from kids.
And you're going to have to register if you show up.
Listen, yes, yeah.
We're going to have to run a full background check.
We're going to need everybody's social security number if you're coming to the concert.
We're going to have to scan your driver's license.
I have tried to get my kids to form either a baseball team or a band, and they will not do either.
How'd that go?
They're
Gen Alpha? Is that what they are?
They are, yeah, I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Which the Alpha, I think it's actually autism. The A is for autism.
I feel like those kids those kids just want to play video games
Yeah.
and be left alone.
Which, to be fair, they're very good at the video games. And my oldest son has ADD, and he gets hyperfixated on stuff. And he right now is hyperfixated on restoring handheld consoles. And he buys broken consoles and fixes
How old
them
is he?
and sells them. He's 15, and he's very good at it. And he's gotten the whole family excited for Nintendo
make a whole
DSs.
business out
Oh
of
yeah,
that.
he does.
Yeah.
He bought a Nintendo DS recently for $150 to $60, a working one that he wanted to have for himself. And I was like, all right, if you want to buy this, you have a month to earn the money selling fixing consoles and selling them to earn the money back for it, to pay me back for this. And he did. And when he bought he's like, we're not even to the month yet, and he's sold probably like 80 he's up to $100 now of selling stuff.
Nice.
Fixing stuff and selling it.
him.
He just fixed a Game Boy recently, so we're going to be
Wow.
selling that soon.
Game Boy. I remember that.
Yeah, he's my little child labor.
That's
Well, and he's really good. So he wants to be a he's into computer programming. He's going to have a marketable skill, is what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Oh, yeah.
Unlike
Yeah.
his father, who went to film school, he's going to begin into computer programming, and he is really good at it. And he knows how to build a website. He knows how to use HTML. I told him if he builds me a website that I can sell merch on, that I'll give him a commission on the merch.
Yeah.
But again, he has ADD, and so he got hyperfixated on something else and has not built me the website yet. But I got to get him to build that website because I have no idea how to do it.
Oh, if you'd like me to, I'll talk to him because I need website help.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to do a website. Last time I tried to do it. I still own joeynickel.com, but I've tried using like GoDaddy's thing or something like that. Their like template website. But it's not cheap. Like, it's expensive. You got to pay a monthly fee to do theirs. And he can build me one for free, because he's my child.
I think life would be easier if we just had like giant billboards instead of websites.
I know.
And then you could do your art on the billboard.
Yeah.
And people,
Yeah.
I would pay for that a lot.
Just post it up there.
Yeah.
Buy this.
Yeah.
Just post a picture and then
Call
a
this
Venmo.
number.
Yeah, or call this phone number.
Call this phone number.
Yeah, and your credit card information.
Yeah.
So we glossed over the singing though. So are you a trained singer? Like, did you?
Like, trained through theater. I actually recently took some vocal lessons for the first
Oh, really?
time with
Okay.
there's a woman at the theater now, a friend of mine, who just moved here recently, and she's like a trained opera singer.
Oh, okay.
And she does what she does, for a living is she does vocal lessons. She mostly works with kids, but she does work with adults too.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked with her for a while, but then I got busy with other stuff. And she taught me a lot of
That's great.
really great,
took-
especially about breath
Yes.
control.
Oh,
and
that's the
I was
main
like,
thing.
oh, that's
Breath
the
control
main
is
thing.
the number one thing.
Yeah.
I took vocal lessons all through high school.
Yeah,
you know.
I really always wanted to, but again, singing was my biggest fear growing up.
Yeah.
Singing in front of people was
See, that's been the easiest for me because that's what I grew up. I got indoctrinated when I was young. So like singing is the easy thing for me.
at a young age. If you had said you either have to do stand-up comedy in front of a group of your peers or you have to sing, I would have chosen stand-up, hands down.
That's funny.
Yeah.
It was the opposite for me.
Yeah.
I had to get over the stage fright for the stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
Singing was easy. That was easy for me.
Oh yeah, so I've done improv and I've sang during that and I'm okay. I still find it a little bit nerve-wracking. The scariest thing in the world to me is karaoke. Because
Really?
Absolutely.
To me, that seems like the easy thing because there's the whole music in the back.
Yeah.
There-
Well, now I love karaoke.
Yeah, I love karaoke.
I'm
I'm-
so
I'm-
much
all the
fun with
time.
karaoke.
I'm scared of following the music as well because I'm not good at the beats at the beat and rhythm, and so like it just terrifies me that I'm going to be off. And I come from a family that is very musical. I know that I've got an okay voice, but I don't like
Just not confident.
Yeah, I'm not a
Half of
musical
singing
person.
is confidence.
Yeah,
Half of singing well is confidence.
Yeah, because I'll tell you, every time I go into an acting audition, I'm mostly fine. I don't have any issue with cold reading. I don't have issue reading sides, that kind of thing, doing a monologue. But when it comes to singing auditions, my chest tightens up, my stomach gets in knots, and my breath just gets really terrible. And I have the worst time with singing auditions. But I've ended up doing a lot of musicals.
See, like singing auditions, that's my jam. I've done singing auditions my entire life. Like,
That's
I'm always good at
how
those.
all the musical theater kids.
Yeah.
I call them kids. It's a lot of adults too.
Yeah,
but
they're all like
look,
45.
Yeah. So when I say theater kids, I
That
mean
means
like 45
yeah,
year
but they're theater kids. Like they were
kids,
They were kids at theater kids
you
when
don't
they were
stop
younger.
being a theater kid, but
Right.
they go into their singing audition and they're like, no problem. But then when it comes to the dance, a lot of them are like, ugh. And I'm like,
see,
I'm
I'm
fine
not a
with that
dancer.
because I took dance as
Actually,
a kid.
I take that back. I was a dancer.
Yeah.
So like I used to, because when I was a theater kid, so I did a lot of dancing for musical theater. Now I will say my biggest role in high school was I played Long John Silver in Treasure Island.
Treasure Island,
awesome.
yeah.
And everybody thought I was an adult, and I was 15.
Did you have the beard?
I had a beard. I grew a beard for
Yeah.
Long John Silver. I actually grew a goatee and did the like pirate kind of goatee.
Oh, like the
and
with, like the handlebar.
yeah,
kinda, like
and
twirly thing.
I did fill it in a little bit with makeup just so it would show on stage,
Right.
Because the lights wash it out. Everybody was like, "Why did they hire an adult to be in this kids play?"
They're like, who's this
Like,
30-year-old?
yes. And I did not do a lot of dancing in that because famously Long John Silver has one leg. So my biggest role I didn't do a lot of dancing in, but I did have to do some thing. I had one number with my henchman that I did where I had to like kind of dance, but it was really ridiculous because I had the crutch and the one leg and
Yeah.
everything. And what I did is I tied my leg up behind me. I had a belt and then another belt looped here, and
And you just like tied your
I tied my foot up into that loop and then wore a trench coat so you couldn't see my leg.
And then did you have like a peg leg?
Just
thing?
a crutch.
Just a crutch.
Yeah, and it wasn't even the proper crutch. It was like a geriatric crutch, like the kind where you have two of them.
Yeah.
But I only had one of them, and we painted it black so it wouldn't look metal. But like that was rough.
Yeah.
I bet.
And I switched legs at the intermission, and nobody noticed.
No one noticed.
Nobody ever noticed.
Yeah.
But it was that. And then
You got to balance it out, you know.
Every-
you can't have one leg getting stronger than the other.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I probably would have injured my knee if I didn't switch in between because it was so hard on my leg.
Yeah.
But I would switch and then it would be better. But every year musical, I would always end up playing an adult in every musical we did. So the next year we did some sort of musical where it was like based in a high school. I forget the name of it, but I played the principal of the high school.
Oh, nice.
So it's like I always played like the adult of whatever was going on in the musical. But yeah, I was definitely a theater kid.
Yeah.
But I danced, but I never took lessons or anything like that. And then in college I did ballroom dance.
I did some swing dance in college.
I did some swing dancing too,
And salsa.
Yeah,
And I had a lot of fun with those.
That's what I did. Latin ballroom.
Yeah.
I also took a ballroom dancing class in
yeah?
college. Yeah, it was a blast. Loved
It's
it.
so much fun. It really is.
I took Latin dance, and I didn't take the swing dancing class, but I would go to the swing dances and stuff.
Yeah.
And I learned that. But I took country social, and I took.
Did you do line dancing?
You learn line dancing.
Line dancing's actually
Line dancing's kind of fun.
It's fun and it's actually a good workout.
It's a lot, and line dancing is very popular right now.
It's very popular. I work with seniors as my day job. I do classes in fall prevention, but they love
so it's
line
just
dancing.
spring and summer, or
The other kind of fall.
it's like we're trying to prevent the seasons.
Trying to prevent the seasons. We don't want the leaves to fall off the trees. No, because when an older person falls, it's not a good time.
I might use your services in a couple years. I'm sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, that is ballroom dancing, square dancing. And I had to take that in elementary school. That was part of
I missed
that was
out
part
on
of
that.
PE.
We did in country social. We did one square dance because there's like a million, and there's like a million different calls that they do. We did one square. We had to learn one square dance, and we learned the Cotton Eye Joe and then we did a couple line dances in country social. And then in Latin ballroom, we did, I don't remember the names of all the dances in Latin ballroom. I don't remember
Salsa,
them all.
merengue.
We did salsa, merengue, and then we did some flamenco, but I don't know why, because that didn't feel very ballroomy. That's not, because I don't know why we did that one. I think our teacher just wanted to. She was from, where's flamenco? That's like Spain or something.
I think so.
That. She was from Spain. And then, but most of the kids were from Central America. Like most of the kids in the class were like Latin America.
You know what I really love to watch is tango. Do you ever watch like professional tango
we did tango
dancers?
too. Now I did a competition in tango, and tango.
You're a competitive dancer?
Yeah, I did competitive dancing. I did that so after I did Latin ballroom, we then a group of us were like, hey, let's enter the beginners competition, because they do a competition every year on campus. Let's enter the beginners competition. Now, what we didn't know about this beginners competition was that it was an open competition, which means our competitors were
professionals,
8 to 16 years old. Like they were, and it was us. It was like 5 or 6 groups of college kids, and then a bunch of kids, because it wasn't sectioned up by
Right.
age. It was just the beginners competition. So it's like who's ever the beginner is who was in it. Now, to be fair, the experts competition had kids in it too, but in the experts competition, they divided them by age too. So it's like, elementary school and middle school and high school and college. But they didn't do that for the beginners. So it was like me and then like these 7-year-olds up next who were better than us, by the way. And it was like I think
some of those dance kids
some of those
are
dance
fierce.
kids. Oh my gosh. And
they're
like
serious
and
about it.
and the outfits, like I didn't even wear like I didn't even get into the Latin look that much. I just wore a suit. I just wore like I didn't even wear a jacket.
Some
I wore
of them
a vest.
were sparkly. Were
Oh
they sparkly?
yeah, they were all over the place.
Yeah.
It was. I saw a lot of Matador jackets with rhinestones on them.
Just a bunch of tiny 30-year-olds.
Yes, a lot of sparkly dresses.
A lot of sass.
A lot
lot of late night bedazzling sessions.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
for sure. A lot of
Rhinestones.
a lot of really stiff hair, like a lot of really tightly wound stiff hair.
Aquanet.
Yeah, it was fun though. I only did one competition, but it was a lot of fun. My partner was from Guatemala.
Oh, cool.
What was her name? I don't remember. She was my partner, and she was a lot of fun. I took her bowling for the first time ever. She had never been bowling, and she beat me. So I was not that good at bowling,
It's
apparently.
that coordination.
Yeah.
That dance coordination.
But I stopped dancing. Probably college was really the last time I did any kind of dancing like that. I never really did it after that.
Bobby, you mentioned that you did some ballroom dancing.
Yeah, I just...
You still doing it?
Yeah.
In your living room?
There's
All the time.
there's no coffee table for a reason.
Yeah.
I was asked to take a ballroom dancing class because a friend of mine's girlfriend needed a partner in the class.
Yeah.
And it was one of my fraternity brothers. So I said, yeah, let's go. And she ended up becoming a very good friend of mine. Actually got married to a different one of my fraternity brothers.
Oh, cool.
And it's just wonderful person. Just like, it was just probably one of the most fun experiences that I was not expecting in college. Just like, hey, this is just a blast.
That's how I felt about swing dance while I was doing it, because I kind of fell into that when I was kind of going through a depressive period where I was just isolating a lot. I didn't really want to talk to anyone. And a friend of mine invited me. He said, hey, they're doing a free swing dance lesson over at this place, and then they're doing a like open dance after that. And I was like, oh, I've always wanted to do that. And it kind of got me out of my little comfort zone hobbit hole that I was staying secluded in.
We're the recorder is about to cycle over, so we're going to take a break real quick.
Okay.
I'm going to for just 5 seconds while I reset the recorder, and then when we come back, actually we have a sponsor today.
Okay.
We have a sponsor today, so we're going to do our sponsor read, and then we'll keep going.
I don't believe that just happened.
I can't believe we didn't record that.
What? I can't believe you said that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have a sponsor today. I texted you the sponsor information. So pull that up. Our sponsor today, our sponsor has paid us $10 to, this is the most money I've ever made in podcasting. $10. We have a $10 sponsor today. Our sponsor today is Spike's Comedy. Spike's Comedy is our sponsor today. Spike is a comic based out of Jacksonville here. He has been on the show before. He was on the show, maybe 4 or 5 episodes ago?
That sounds right, yeah.
He was on Change Your Password Day. Is that what it was?
Yes, because he brought his notebook full of passwords.
Yeah, he brought his actual passwords to the show.
Did he share them?
He's an old man.
Yeah,
yes. Thank you, Spike.
Thank you, Spike, for sponsoring the show. SpikesComedy.com. You can check out SpikesComedy.com. And here are his upcoming shows. We have Saturday, March 15th at 8 p.m. He's doing a show with Danny Johnson at Cafe 11 in St. Augustine Beach. Cafe 11 is a great venue for shows. They have a lot of good comedy shows there. A lot of big names come through there.
And Danny Johnson's about to take off, too.
Yeah, Danny Johnson is about to take off. He just filmed a special up in Georgia. Where was it, Georgia?
Yeah, Marietta, Georgia.
So
nice.
Look for that, Danny Johnson. But he didn't pay us any money, so go to Spike's Comedy. SpikesComedy.com. So that's March 15th. March 22nd at 11:45 p.m., that's when the doors open. The show is at midnight. Is the secret stand-up show at First Coast Comedy in Mayport.
Yes.
The midnight show, March 22nd. Bobby and I both have done the midnight show.
That is a fun show.
It is a fun show.
It starts at midnight.
It starts at midnight. Doors open at 11:45.
That gets really interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a fun show. And so those are Spike's upcoming shows. I will put links to the tickets in our description, in the show's description. So that is our first. Go to spikescomedy.com. He put his phone number. Should we read his phone number on?
I don't think we should.
I don't think we should do that. I don't think he knows he put his. Maybe he knows he put his.
Maybe he wants people to call him.
I'm not going to read his phone number. I'll ask him if he wants me to. I'll put it on at the end if he wants the phone number. But that's a little weird. I don't know. I don't know if I want to put his phone number out there for the ether.
I kind of want to now.
So anyway, March 15th, March 22nd, go check him out. SpikesComedy.com. Book him for some shows. All right, that's our sponsor for today. That was our first live read.
Wow, I loved it.
Yeah, $10
so
sponsor.
Honored to be here for it.
I know.
Yeah.
This is our first legitimate show that makes money.
Wow.
Now I got to pay taxes. So we're gonna get $2 after we pay our taxes.
Yeah.
Which is worth about 3 cents in 10 year ago money.
Yeah, right. Now what were we talking about? Oh, all right. So, women. Okay, so who
Comedy? I don't
would
know.
you say we've already had a female based show, but we didn't have any females on the show. We had one. It was episode.
Something's missing here.
Episode 3. Well, we asked them and they wouldn't come.
Why? No.
The women we knew, at least,
Oh.
wouldn't be on the show. We tried to get our wives to be on the show. We did feature our wives because we played a Newlyweds game where we asked the wives and then they sent us their answers.
Oh, nice.
But we did that. The third episode we did was You Go Girl Day, and that was female based. So we already talked about our favorite female comics. But Joan, do you have any female comics that either are influences for you or that are your favorites?
Yes. Yeah. So number one on my list, pretty much of any comic that I've loved since I first saw her in middle school, is Kathleen Madigan.
I had her on
Yes.
we both had her on the list. Kathleen Madigan's great.
I love
Yep.
her delivery. I
Yes.
love her just honesty about who she is.
Yes.
I also listen to her podcast.
Yeah.
She just seems like a lot of fun.
I love Kathleen Madigan. I want to be her best friend.
Right?
Like I want
I
to
just
get to
wanna
know
hang
her.
with her.
She came
I'm
to
not even a big drinker, and I just want to
yeah,
chill
right,
with her.
Yeah, exactly. She's such. she has her album Bothering Jesus.
Oh my God.
Is the most listenable album over and over again of any album I've
So
ever listened. Like
true.
I do
So
not
much
listen to
so.
comedy albums multiple times usually. When of like current comics, old ones I will, like Steve Martin or like
Right.
somebody like that, like old school comics. I'll listen to those
Like
for
George
nostalgia.
Carlin,
George Carlin,
yeah.
Eddie Murphy, stuff like that.
But as far as recent
But
stuff.
recent stuff, her album is so endlessly listened. I have listened to it probably 6 or 7 times.
I've listened to
Yeah.
it so many times and laughed.
Yes,
I still
it's
laugh.
so funny.
It still feels fresh.
It's
a lot
still
of her
yes.
jokes.
I will have like Spotify do, or not Spotify. I have Amazon Music. I'll have like Amazon Music do like just a playlist of stand-up comedy,
Mm-hmm.
and then every time one of hers comes up, it's just, even if I've heard it before,
Yeah.
I love it. I still like listening to it.
Yeah. And I love her too because her stuff is my dad will listen to like stand-up comedy stations on Spotify and stuff, and she'll come up and he'll be like, oh, I heard this comic, and I'll know the bit he's talking about. I'm like, that's Kathleen Madigan.
Yeah, she's great. She's great. She came to Jacksonville last year, and I did not go to the show. I think I had a show that night.
I think she's going to be in Orlando
Is she?
in May.
In May?
I think.
She came
I'm
to
not
the
sure, but
Ponte
I want to
Vedra
go
concert
see her.
hall.
I want to go see
Yeah,
her.
I would like to see her live.
Yeah.
Here's the problem I have with going to live comedy shows is I want to be on the show. Like so
Yeah.
like when I go to a live comedy show, I have this uncomfortable back of my mind feeling of like I'm not on this show. It's always weird to me.
Yes,
Yeah.
I have the worst time with that.
Yeah.
Being in the audience, I don't like being in crowds anyways, so that makes it so much worse.
I
You
went
just gotta tell yourself that's what I'm working towards.
I
and
know.
That's what I'm gonna.
Well, I went
that's
to
where
see
I'm gonna be one day.
I went to see Sam Morril last year, and I had a great time. And I was a big fan, but it's still in the back of my head. There's always this like subconscious, like I want to be on the stage.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go up before him, or whatever, or like that's always I
You gotta
can't
start manifesting.
I can't
that.
just start. I can't just sit and watch a comedy show anymore.
I understand
as
that.
as an
I get
audience
that.
member, as a fan anymore.
For me, I have to really want to see. It's the same way with music. I have to really want to see someone to actually make the effort to go.
But yeah, Kathleen Madigan. That is one though that I would go see.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love Kathleen Madigan.
I found that I enjoy watching stand up more from the side of the stage.
Yeah, right.
Green
Yeah,
room.
right.
Like where it's not a good view,
Yeah.
but I see what
Yeah.
the comedians also see.
I like that too.
That's
Yeah.
my
I
favorite.
I like the corner of the back of the stage kind of thing where I
Yeah.
can see the audience's reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like that a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe
That's
that's
cool.
what I need to do. I'm like, I don't want to be on the show. Can I just sit backstage though?
Yeah. Can
And
I just? I won't bother anyone.
Yeah. So Kathleen Madigan for sure.
Kathleen
Any
Madigan
other?
for sure. I do really like Eliza Schlesinger. I've always enjoyed Maria Bamford.
I love Maria.
I love
Bamford.
Maria
She's
Bamford.
In my top, she's in my top 3.
She is probably in terms of women comics, she's number 2 on
Yeah.
my list. She's
She-
way up there.
probably
and
mine,
I
too.
think she has such an incredibly inspiring journey too with her mental health,
course,
and that
yeah.
she's so open and candid about, because it's very, even though I can't relate to all the stuff she talks about as far as being bipolar and everything,
Yeah.
it's very relatable, especially with like those intrusive thoughts that kind of
Yes.
have stopped
Yeah.
me in my tracks
For
so
sure.
many times, that have gotten me like that have just completely derailed me with this, because I've started and quit because I just thought, well, I'm no good at this. I don't have a talent for this. I should just get, because you have one, like no one told me that, hey, bombing is just part of the process and you just got to do it a bunch of times. And this is just these open mics. These are like rehearsals, and that's all there is. I've finally figured that out now at 39. I'm like, oh, this is okay. This is all
This is
part,
part
of
of
it.
it.
This is all
Yeah.
part of it.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
to go through this.
You still.
But back then in my
you can
20s,
still
I was
gain
like,
things.
yeah, I was like, well, I just must suck at this, because I had
Yeah.
like one fluke
Right.
or a couple
Yeah.
of shows that went really great, and then and then it's all downhill from there. So, but
as the old guy at the table, those don't go away.
Yeah.
I'd like to point that out. Last
Really? I haven't. They go away, right? I never. I haven't bombed in 6 years. And
I had an average show last weekend. And I say that average. It was one of those shows. Was fine. The people in the audience, I know, were good, but to use a cliche, we're our own worst critic.
Yes.
The
key to bombing as you get older as a comic is you only bombed to you. Like that's the goal, is to make it so that you're the only one that knows you bombed. Like that's the fake. That's the veil of trying to be like. That's really what it means to be a professional comic and to continue in comedy. Is like, all right, that was not great, but the audience didn't know it wasn't great or whatever. Or like that's I think that's like something. That sometimes that's the best you can hope for.
Yeah.
But obviously you don't want that to be your standard. Like obviously you don't want that to be the norm or the standard.
Yeah.
But like to me, I've come to terms with like, well, at least if I can salvage the show and to the audience, even if I hated that show and I want to kill myself after the show, at least if I salvaged it to the audience, then that's the best I can hope for that show.
Yeah.
That's
good advice.
It's at 5 hours after you leave the show and you're driving home, focusing on that 4-minute set, like continually thinking about that 4-minute set. Ooh, I missed this one punchline.
Well, and like last night, I had an experience with this because I've only recently gotten back into it and decided, you know what, I'm gonna go for this. I'm gonna really do it and not let anything get in my way. And then last night I went to the Fresh Spot.
Okay.
I saw you posted about that. I didn't even know. So you drove all the way out to the Fresh Spot and then drove home and then drove back all the way back here?
I was in Gainesville for work anyway, so I was like, you know what, I'll just go and then, But I there's only one mic going on in Ocala right now.
Yeah.
So, and I saw it was happening. Marcus was hosting it, and I was like, you know what, I've got to get out of my comfort zone, because if I just do stuff at Mutiny, which is the bar that the open mic is happening in Ocala right now, if I only continue to do stuff there, I'm going to get too comfortable. So I got to make myself do it. I got to go out. And it was a very thin crowd, and I didn't get a lot of laughs at all. And I started to get in my head and get all discouraged. And then I went home. I got in my car and I cried a little bit. And then I was like, no, don't feel sorry for yourself. And I called one of my good friends, and he kind of talked me down from that. I was like, when this happens, I just need to talk to somebody about it. Mm-hmm. It's probably part of being a woman.
Yeah.
But, communication is important. So I called one of my gay best friends, and I was like...
I get it. That's what they're for.
Yeah.
That's what gay best friends are for.
That's what they're for.
So I get it. I internalize everything.
I used to do that, and that did not work for me.
and then I make fun of somebody's name and then create a beef in the comedy scene. Bobby knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah. That's,
I'm like conflict avoidant, so
I am too, normally. But I could not avoid it last week for some reason. It was pretty rough. But you
don't have any scratch marks or visible.
It was close though. It was probably.
I was worried.
Yeah. I get that completely. But see, I used to talk to my wife more, and now I don't talk to her ever. No, I'm just kidding. I used to.
She's like, God, shut up already.
No,
You're good. You're funny.
I used to talk to my wife more about stand-up, but I still do. Like, I'll still talk about shows, or I'll talk about, like, this happened this week or whatever. But, like, I've also realized that, like, she, like, I don't know, like, she's not in it, so, like, she doesn't. Like, it's more productive for me to talk to another stand-up or somebody who understands what I'm talking about most of the time.
I kind of liken it to people in the military, and even though it's not the same thing, it's like Well,
stand-ups, often stand-ups will refer to non-stand-ups as civilians.
Yes.
Like a lot of people who have been in the industry for years, and I do that all the time. It's like that I know it's probably some sort of stolen valor, but but yes, it's similar. It's like you're in something that nobody else, like you really don't understand until
Other
you go
people
into
that have
it.
never done it
Yes.
don't understand.
Yeah, it's really tough for them to understand.
I think one of the best ways to explain it is if anybody knows teachers and teachers talk to each other. Even if they don't know each other, they're teachers. They're talking about teaching. They relate. They've got that shorthand. Comics are the same way.
Yeah.
Now I will say my wife knows more than most. Like she
Sure.
knows more than most civilians.
Yeah.
She's a civilian that has a job on a base. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
like she knows she would be able to hold her own in a conversation about inside baseball stand-up comedy.
She's a military wife.
Yeah, she's a military
exactly.
wife.
I was gonna say.
So she understands a lot of it, but she can't she's not in it, so she can't it'd be hard for her to give advice on something on stand-up comedy. Now she can give
advice to the other military spouses.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Or she can give she's also a teacher, which is funny you bring that up, but she's a teacher, so she has that too. But she's also a public speaker by profession as a teacher. She also is a public speaker. Her summer job is she goes to conferences and does trainings. She writes the math curriculum for the state of Florida. She works with the Department of Education.
Okay.
Writes the math curriculum and then goes and teaches that math curriculum in conferences to the public school teachers in all over the state. So they have 3 conferences a year, and they get together and teach this. And then she'll get hired to do other stuff too, and do committee meetings and stuff like that. And she gets paid, they'll pay her per diem, put her up in a hotel, and she'll get paid literally 10 times the amount of money I get paid. One time we scheduled something at the same time. She was doing a show in West Palm Beach, and then I scheduled a run of shows in West Palm Beach. And I got, they were just bar shows, brewery shows. So I got a total of $200, I think, for the weekend, and she got $2,000 for the week. She literally made 10 times the amount of money as me, and doing a similar thing. And it's obviously hers is marketable and mine is not, but so she can always be on my side and give me advice as far as public speaking is concerned.
Right.
And so she has a very similar job, and we can relate on that level, but there's a lot of inside stuff when it comes to stand-up comedy that she can't relate to or understand. That's tough, to get advice about.
Yeah. It's a different community, different setting.
Yeah. My wife doesn't understand me. No, she does, maybe. I don't know.
I don't understand my wife. So, we're good there.
I don't understand myself. So,
that's why we do this.
So, all right. So we've got Kathleen Madigan, Maria Bamford, who's an up and coming, who's somebody that's kind of new and that you've noticed recently.
I don't know if you can call her up and coming because she's been around for several years now, but I do enjoy Taylor Tomlinson.
That was who I was going to say.
Yeah,
Taylor Tomlinson.
Yeah, I think she's got some great stuff.
She's been around for a while, but I'd say she still qualifies as up and coming because she keeps getting bigger.
I don't want to give her less credit than she deserves because she also works really, really hard. Sure.
But she keeps getting, every year she gets bigger.
She gets big, yeah.
And we can call her up and coming because she's so young.
She is young. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
She is very young.
Yeah.
But, she's funny. I like her a lot. She's got some great content out there. She's got the show at midnight.
At midnight, yeah.
Which they've adjusted a little bit. She does a monologue now on the show. She wasn't doing a monologue, and I think it helps. I think it's good she does the monologue now.
I haven't watched a second of it. I've enjoyed her stand up. It's too late for me, and I'm not going to watch it in reruns. If I'm up, then I'm doing something.
See,
else.
I stay up late. I'm getting home at midnight most of the time, or later. But I'll watch it. I'll watch it if there's somebody on the show that I want to see.
True. Yeah.
Or like Ron Funches. He's hilarious.
Yeah.
He's great on the show.
He's always great.
Something like that. Or who was it recently? Because it's funny when they have non-stand-ups on the show that do well. I always like that. I always think that's funny.
Yeah. I liked the previous version. What, Chris Hardwick?
Chris Hardwick hosted it.
Yeah, it was a blast.
Yeah.
And I love all the folks. I don't have time.
Definitely. Those are some good.
And one other that I really, really like is Nicole Byer. 'Cause
Yes, I love Nicole Byer,
I first
too.
saw her,
I love
nailed
Nicole
it,
Byer,
and
yeah.
I thought she was
Yeah,
just.
she's
I was
great.
like, she has to be a stand-up because I didn't know anything about her when I first
She's
saw
great.
Nailed It. So I used to be a cake decorator, so I
You're a cake
fell
decorator.
in love with that show
Oh,
because. Especially with her, because I was like, she has to be a stand-up comic.
She's
I
hilarious.
can't imagine
She's great.
a world in which she's not. I found out she was.
She's
Like,
one
she
of
is
those.
So funny.
She's such a personality.
She
that's
is.
so it's so positive.
She's got
so
such a brightness.
Every
about
time
her.
she's on does a guest role on a TV show,
she's great.
It's great. I
Yeah,
love the episode.
I enjoy seeing her.
She did,
I just delight in her presence.
The Good Place. Did you watch The Good
Yes.
Place?
That
She was
is my favorite sitcom.
Yeah.
She did like a couple episodes on that, and I
love
was like,
that
oh, that's
show.
Nicole Byer, and I
Yeah.
loved it. It was great.
She's so funny.
I love when she calls out Wes on Nailed It. Wes!
Wes! Yeah, she's.
It's
she
great.
just-
She's
cracks
great.
Me up.
And every time I hear like on a kids show, she'll do a voice on a kids show.
Yeah.
Immediately recognizable.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's
She's
Nicole Byer.
so
like
funny.
she's so funny. Yeah.
I've listened to a little bit of her podcast too.
Yeah. Her podcast is good too.
It's
yeah.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
and she's always a good
funny.
guest. Whenever she's a guest on a podcast,
Yeah.
always a great
And
episode.
I don't know. She seems like somebody, and I could be wrong about this, but I feel like she doesn't take life or herself too seriously. And
I get that too.
I try to absorb.
Maybe
some of
she's
that
got a
energy
deep dark
in.
secret or something, but yes, from what I see, the personality she
She's always
presents,
smiling
Yeah.
and like laughing, and I love that in a comedian. It's like you look like you're having a great time.
she's another one that I'd like to be her friend. You know, it's like
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
she'd be a good hang.
Yeah,
She'd be a fun hang.
yeah.
I feel like Kathleen Madigan would be too, but Kathleen Madigan, I want to be like my aunt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want my wife to be good friends with Kathleen Madigan.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Not because I don't think I would be, but I think that they would get along better and it would make better jokes for Kathleen.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
definitely want to sit on the couch and drink wine with Kathleen Madigan.
Yeah, like I feel like she's the one where she's like, where it's like after the show, she's like, I want her to take me to dinner. Do you know what I mean? But not as like a date, just like,
No,
just like as an aunt, like the aunt who's in town,
Yeah.
the fun aunt who's in town for a couple days.
Yeah, she's also
whatever.
really smart. Even
She
though
is. She's very smart,
She,
yeah.
she kind of downplays how smart she is,
Right.
and
No, she's
I've
very
always had an
smart.
affinity for people like that. I'm like,
You can
okay.
tell on the podcast that she's smart.
Yeah.
She's very smart.
Yeah.
And just her talking about her parents and everything.
God.
It just
Oh, when she
Oh,
talks
that's
about
great.
them moving to the villages.
yes. Oh my gosh.
Kills me every time.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what it's like down there.
She's so funny. Yeah, I would want to hang out with her, and I would want to hang out. Nicole Byer, I would want to hang out with as a friend, like
Yeah.
as an equal, or as
Yeah.
somebody on same level.
I could see standing in a parking lot and having a conversation for
Yeah.
hours
Yes,
after a
for
show
sure.
with Nicole Byer.
Oh yeah, or like we do a show at a club, and then like we end up they turn off the lights. You know, it's like we're
Yeah.
sitting there in the
Yeah.
lobby of the club, and it's like, oh, I guess we should leave.
And they
you
were
know,
like,
that kind
"What's
of
open
thing.
right now?
Yeah.
You want to?"
You want to go to Waffle House?
Yeah, is
I
there
feel like
Waffle
she'd go
House
to
around
Waffle
here?
House
Yeah.
with me. You know.
Yeah.
Maria Bamford, I feel like I would want to be friends with her, and I feel like she would make an effort, and then we would just never connect. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like
yeah.
she would get too busy or too.
She seems like one of those people that I would always be afraid that I said something that weirded her out.
Maybe,
That's why I
yeah,
never heard from
right.
her.
Yeah, I'd
then I
always be
wouldn't wanna
blaming
bother
myself
her.
if I didn't
Yeah.
hear from her, or like she'd be like, "Oh yeah, or I'd do a show with her, and then she'd be like, "Oh yeah, let's go grab something to eat or something, or let's hang out," and then we'd hang out, and then in 5 minutes in, she'd be like, "You know what, I gotta go," or something, and I'd be like,
Yeah.
I just feel like I'd want to hang out, and then it just wouldn't quite work out to hang out with her.
I feel the same
Maybe
way.
I'm projecting that, or maybe I'm
No,
intimidated.
I get that.
but like just because she's such a kind of a scattered personality.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe she's great. Now she does go to lunch with fans and practice her set. Do you know about that?
No.
So like when she goes to town, so let's say she's coming to Jacksonville. Let's say she's doing the Florida Theater. The day of the show, so like at like 10 a.m., she'll be like, "I'm in Jacksonville. I'm about to do the Florida Theater. Who would like to have lunch with me? And I will do my whole set for you at lunch." And then a fan comes and meets her at a restaurant, and she buys them lunch, and then she does her whole set
God,
for the
I think
fan.
I would be so out of body. Like,
Oh,
sitting there for
I know.
that, I'd be like,
I'd want to do it. I'd do it, but
Yeah.
I would be
my
so nervous.
brain
the
would
whole
just
time.
be going a million miles an
I've
hour.
looked.
Like, I'm watching Maria Bamford practice
when
her set right now.
I know I would be. I was so out of body at
yeah,
during
I can't eat anything. This is not. That's not gonna work.
She had the one special in like her parents' living room.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
did
which is
the special or whatever.
which is just
Yeah.
incredibly nerve-wracking to me.
Well, then she did her parents' living room. That was one special. Then she did a special where she started in a living room, and then every like 10 minutes she would go to a bigger venue, and one of them was in a bowling alley. Do you remember that? And then she ended in a theater. Then she ended her special. The last like 15 minutes were in a theater. Like I thought that was a kind of a fun concept.
Yeah.
And I thought was gonna like I had that idea before I saw her special. I was like, but I wasn't gonna do like living room. I was gonna do like open mics. I was gonna like do a special where I did like some open mics, and then I did a comedy club, and then I did a theater kind of thing.
And it just gets bigger.
Yeah,
and
and it
bigger.
just gets bigger.
Expands,
but
yeah.
she did it very well. She always likes to do quirky things with her specials.
I like how creative she is.
Yeah. Did you watch the show Lady Dynamite?
Yes.
It was great. I loved it.
Yeah.
I think there were 2 seasons, I want to say.
I wish it had kept going.
Yeah, I wish she'd have done more, but
It was really
you can
funny.
see why somebody like that would only want to do like 2 seasons
Yeah.
and be like, oh, I did what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I
get
think
it.
that shows need that more.
Yeah,
to
right.
pull the plug
Self-awareness.
sooner.
Yeah.
like
Everything doesn't have to go on for
Yeah.
10
Yeah.
seasons or more.
something can be amazing in just short like
Jim Gaffigan did it too. He did like 3 seasons of his show, and then
Yeah.
and then that was it.
yep.
Yeah. Plus, it makes it more. What's the word? Like, makes it more unique. It makes it rarer. You know, it's like it's more special then.
Yeah.
That it only lasted.
It's almost
for
like,
3
ooh,
seasons
what are they
going to
do next? Like,
Yeah, it's like let's see the next project kind
Yeah.
of thing. Except for when it comes to Louis C.K. and then
Oh.
and then you never want to see his stupid face ever again. But I did love Louis. I loved
did
that show.
too. I did
I
too.
loved that show.
I thought it was brilliant.
It was a brilliant show, but yeah, it's a shame. Did you? He also had. I don't see that. No, I don't want to plug him. Never mind. I don't want to plug his stuff.
I will say one of the most transformative comedy experiences I ever had was I think maybe I'd done like one open mic at the time, maybe. I went to see Paula Poundstone at the Comedy
Oh yeah,
Zone.
Paula, she's funny.
And
Yeah.
She's one of those like funny, like she's one of those ones where it's like it's funny. How do I put it? Funny is a mental illness. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she can't help it. Like
Yeah.
it's funny in her essence, in her core.
She's got a whole.
She can
like,
never not be funny.
Yeah.
Right,
You know what I mean?
Like yeah, and like I'd never really seen a lot of stand up, and like my like it's like hey, everything's just memorized and things like, and which is great and wonderful. And I went to the show, and it was the first time I was at a live comedy show where the comedian was actually doing crowd work, and it wasn't just like, hey, what do you do? Oh, you're an insurance salesman, blah, blah. She was weaving together everything in the audience, doing callbacks from 20 minutes earlier, 6 people before. And it was the most brilliant thing I'd ever seen. I'm like, this is art.
Yeah, that kind of recall is really
I know.
impressive.
I'd love to do a show with her, but she doesn't use an opener.
Yeah.
She just does it
Oh, she
herself.
just does herself,
She just
yeah.
does her own. She does like 90 minutes by herself.
Yeah.
Which is insane to just go up cold and do 90 minutes of comedy.
That's stamina. I mean,
But-
that's.
Yeah, she's very good.
Yeah.
I'm definitely up there, top female comics. All right, next category, top female comics that are dead.
Ooh.
I don't know how long that list is.
I mean, I could give you more of a list of like comedic actresses that
That's
I like.
true.
Who
Yeah,
are
I can
dead.
probably think of more of those.
Give me a week to grow the list.
Yeah, I know. Actually,
I mean,
That sounded
I was
real creepy.
Like, I was really, I was a huge fan of Lucille Ball
I love
when I was
Lucille.
a kid.
Yeah.
I
We'll
love-
count her. Yeah, we'll count her.
Not a stand-up.
Not a
but-
stand-up, but comedic.
Actually,
But-
she was.
Was she?
Was she a stand-up for a while?
Well, like most of the actors and actresses that did comedies back then did a lot of vaudeville.
Yeah, that's
Vaudeville,
true. They did some
sort of
they
stage show
had
before.
They
Yeah,
had their
that's true.
their roots in vaudeville. So that's
Speaking of female stand-ups, this is a fictional female stand-up, but have you seen Hacks? Oh, it's a great show. Jean Smart plays this kind of old school, kind of a Joan Rivers type, I guess. Like she's older, she's had a career, and now she has a residency in Vegas. And she performs every night. She's like 6 nights in Vegas, and she's got this hugely popular Vegas show. But it's starting to dwindle, like as her generation is not, coming out to shows anymore, or they're dying or whatever. And so she gets cut down to 3 shows a week. And like she goes insane. She's like, this is insane. Like that I'm cut down to 3. I'm the biggest comedian, whatever. So she hires a young comic to help her write more jokes and to create a fresh act. And it's a very good show.
It's called Hacks.
It's called Hacks. It's on HBO.
Check that one out.
It's 2 seasons, I want to say. It got nominated for a bunch of Emmys. I think Jean Smart won for Best Actress, I want to say. But it's really good. I can't remember the other actor, the young actress's name who plays the stand. She's a stand-up too. She's in real life. She's a stand-up, and then she plays the writer for her.
I've seen.
It's a great show.
I've seen it scrolling through, but I've never.
And what's her name's in it from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Man, what is her name? Sweet D.
Sweet D.
Yeah.
Caitlin Olsen.
Caitlin Olsen, and she was nominated too.
Oh, really?
She was nominated for an Emmy for Hacks. She plays her daughter in it.
I love her on
She's
Sunny.
She's great in Always Sunny. She's great in Hacks too.
Yeah.
What's her name? Oh, Hannah
Einbinder.
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce that. Einbinder.
It's very German.
Hannah Einbinder. I think all 3 of them were nominated for season 1 or 2. Like I don't know if they were all of them nominated for both seasons, but it's a very good show. Very actor heavy. Like they're all very much.
And it's got Shooter McGavin.
Oh yeah, Christopher McDonald.
Okay, yeah.
Christopher McDonald. I have a bit about this. I don't know if I've said it on the podcast. That guy. I wonder how hard it is for him to go to public events now, because if I see Christopher McDonald, I'm gonna say Shooter, right?
Yeah.
You can't say that in public.
Oh, I bet he's gotten that.
Like, you can't say that. Like, if I see him at a football game, I'm like, Shooter! Hey, everybody, Shooter! Like, I'm getting arrested after that. That's you can't say.
If you get arrested, you need a trial in front of the jury of your peers, because there's not 12 people that are
12 people are going to know what I'm talking about. It's Shooter. You know it's Shooter McGavin.
Come on.
It's Christopher McDonald.
We know what he was doing.
Ladies and gentlemen, he has been charged with yelling "Shooter" in a public place and inciting a riot. It's like, but it's Shooter McGavin. You know it's Shooter McGavin. It's like, that's I feel.
They're showing like video, like surveillance footage of the event. They're like, is that?
And it turns out it wasn't.
Christopher McDonald. That's come on.
It turns out it wasn't Christopher McDonald. Turns out it was like somebody else.
Someone else who
I just thought
like
it was
him.
Christopher McDonald. It's like, sir, that was not Christopher McDonald.
That was some other actor who kind of looks like him.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I ask you, does this man look like Shooter McGavin?
Turns out he is not an active shooter, because he cannot go out in public anymore because he causes riots.
He's now an inactive shooter.
It's made for a very inactive shooter.
That's terrible.
He's good in it too. He's kind of a jerk, but not really.
He's good at that.
He's good at being kind of a jerk. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like he can never just play a good guy. Like he's always but he owns the casino that she performs at. And he's the one that has to tell her, like, you're not popular anymore, basically. And he's like, we've given your shows to Pentatonics. And she's like, who's Pentatonics? Like, she's so mad at Pentatonics. Like, it's a joke throughout the show.
What the hell is Pentatonics?
Yeah, exactly. He's like, it's funny. It's a good show. I would recommend that. I would recommend Hacks. It's a good show. We are not sponsored by Hacks. We are sponsored by Spike Yoder. Spike's Comedy. Go to spikescomedy.com for all his dates and deets. And you can see him on March 15th or March 22nd. In March 15th, you can see him at Cafe 11. And March 22nd, you can see him in Mayport at First Coast Comedy.
Spike Yoder, not a hack.
Not a hack. All right, well, we've been going for like a good hour and 40 minutes now.
Oh, wow.
So I think it's probably a good place to wrap it up. We've got some good information about women. We will now be on the lookout for more women.
Yes.
Now that we can identify them.
Now that
Yeah.
you know how to identify a woman.
Well, I don't know these days.
I
It's
mean,
getting harder.
Well, just make sure you ask.
We
I
appreciate
guess.
all women. We appreciate all women. Whenever you became a woman in your life, we appreciate you. Joan Elizabeth, I'm not going to assume when you became a woman, but we know you've been a woman for
For a while.
For at least an hour and 40 minutes.
At least, I think. Maybe
so-
I became a woman during this
Maybe.
podcast.
I didn't know it was that kind of podcast, but okay.
I'm gonna go check on things after I get done here.
Well, thanks for joining us, Joan. Tonight.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Tonight, we are at Crossroads Lutheran Church. Is that what it's called?
Crossroad Lutheran Church.
Tonight we are at Crossroads Lutheran Church in Fleming Island. What time's this show?
Show starts at 7.
7 o'clock. Come to the show tonight. You can buy tickets in advance.
In advance and
At the door. So come to the show tonight. It's going to be a great show. Wes Johnson is going to be on the show with us. Let's see. Next week on March 12th, I will be at Bedlam in Mayport. So come check that out. March 12th, Bedlam, Mayport. What else? March 28th, I will be in Isla Mirada on March 28th and 29th. We're doing 3 shows in Isla Mirada. I'm using my phone to record, so I can't remember what the name of the place is. I need to just do like an insert of plugs.
Right.
So that I can read off a list or something like that, because I never remember them all.
And you can put it up as a graphic.
I could just put it up as a graphic.
Right.
That's a good thing. You got so many.
I know. Anyway, follow us on social media, Bobby Parker Comedy, Joey 5 Cent, or Joey Nickel .05. And what was your Instagram?
Very sass.
Very sass.
But it might change. But I'm trying to keep it the same.
Very sass. Check out our artwork. It's very good. I'm a very big fan.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. This has been, today is, my name is Joey Nickel.
I'm Bobby Parker.
I'm Joan Elizabeth.
See you tomorrow.
Have a good one.